Hi guys, that song review guy here, and here we are, another album roundup review video. Before I get onto the list, I think a little announcement is needed. At the beginning of the year, I decided to update the channel a little bit and include album reviews into my channel, and whilst it's been fun, I think the channel has kind of lost its identity a little bit. Considering what the channel used to be, I don't think that's what it is anymore, i.e. a song review channel. So it's been a good 11 months, but I think the writing is pretty much on the wall. It's time to put the album reviews on the shelf. Here are the albums that I've listened to as of late, but for one reason or another decided not to review. It's great if they want to make an album inspired by R&B and hip-hop, but couldn't they have made it interesting or memorable, or maybe make the songwriting somewhat good? If you want safe, bland, unmemorable, unchallenging and lacklustre music, then here you go. An album from the former lead singer of The Verve should pique interest in a lot of people, and it did in me. And it's not good. Albums inspired by political events can be a great listen, but when the lyrics are as inspiring as the ones found on here, well, all it's good for is to fall asleep to. It's like Michael decided that he was going to write an album that he actually wanted to make. Write some actual songs with meaning, purpose and intent, and tag some good instrumentals to those lyrics. And what results is Michael's best work. I definitely recommend it. If you're into the more indie-centric side to the group, like me, you're probably not going to like this album. And I don't. The group veers into pop territory and it underwhelms. Another group from the mid-2000s UK pop rock crop that is gripping to the edge of the cliff by their fingernails, and it's at a point where someone needs to just come along and put an end to their misery. Aptly titled, we need to take all of the copies of this album and encase them inside 4 of them. X Factor runner-up in 2010, it's her 3rd studio album, and whilst it's another safe standard pop album with hints of soul, it's a solid release. Ferguson is noted for her terrific vocal abilities, and she succeeds in displaying them superbly here. If you're interested, try it out. You might like it. Perhaps there's something to this album that can be considered great. I just struggle to warm to anything found here. It's probably one of those projects where there are some people out there that are more qualified to talk about this one than I am. Part of me wants to like this album a lot more than I do, and it could have been a good, borderline great album, but too many corny lines cannot be ignored. That Beyonce and Lana Del Rey line, God, they were bad. If you want safe, bland, unmemorable, unchallenging and lacklustre music, then here you go. If there's anyone that you wouldn't expect to make a boring, passionless album, it would be Tove. But she delivers exactly that here. Word of advice, sound like you give a shit and get a better producer, because I'm not finding it here. I've never been the biggest Two Door Cinema Club fan, and in fact, more so than not, I tend to give this group a miss. And this acts as a reminder why. Baseless lyrics that don't really mean anything over the same paint-by-numbers instrumentals. I shouldn't have expected anything less. There are moments, brief moments I'll add, that are really good, but the lack of consistency, the repetitive song structure, a severe need of energy and passion is needed in more of these tracks. Plus, Emeli, you could have done with cutting about 40% of the track list on this album. Why Shearwater's jet plane and Oxbow works where this one doesn't is that Shearwater's use of language is creative, and as a result it's engaging to listen to. This album, for me at least, feels a little too on the nose and blunt, and I'm not too sure if I like it all that much because of that. Wait a minute, an indie rock album that's actually cohesive, consistent, and is pretty good? Well, yeah, it's definitely one of the better indie albums that I've heard this year. Again, another group that I've never been a big listener of, but I think that this is definitely worth checking out. And there you go, those are some of the albums that I have listened to over the last couple of months, but I've just not got round to reviewing. Also, you can chuck these 2 albums on the list because, well, unless there's a lyric sheet available, I can't really give it a fair judgment. One of these albums was released in January and there are still no lyric sheets out. Don't blame me. The last 11 months have been fun, but some good things must come to an end. I don't know what exactly you'd find on this channel that's good, but I'm still searching. Until next time, I'm That Song Review Guy, and take care.